time. When I was first diagnosed, I felt really, I felt sorry for myself. I didn't know where to look. I didn't have anybody to really turn to. Um, I found some, way off topic here, but I found some support groups online and I was really excited about it at first. It was so nice to connect to other people who understood what I was dealing with. But, and this is not at all to insult those people because I've been where they're at. But most of those support groups turn into a race to the bottom over, and they would literally, well, no, my life sucks worse than yours. Well, yes, and all y'all's lives suck not because you have health issues, but because that's how you choose to view your life. You know, I there's a lot of people out there who are a lot worse off than you are who are very freaking happy. So, anyway, anyway, that actually segs perfectly. Did I say that right? That takes us perfectly into the topic for tonight, which are 9 toxic habits that you really need to dump. The sooner the better. And yeah, it's kind of getting on the end of the year, so this stuff is on my mind. But honestly, this kind of stuff is on my mind most of the year. But anyway, this is from lifehack.org. Number 1, you need to quit dwelling on the past. Don't live there, okay? You can't change it. I don't care what horrible things you did, you better find a way to come to terms with it because you can't change it. If you need counseling, for goodness sakes, go get some damn help. You don't need to live miserable. But you can't change the past. You don't live there anymore. There's a great quote, and I know I'm going to flub this, but it's something about there's a reason why your windshield is so much larger than your rear view mirror. I had to say that slow because where you're going is so much more important than where you've been. I have a lot of things from my past I'm not proud of, but you know what? I'm a flippin' survivor. And I would not be who I am today without all of those experiences, even the worst of them. So, I spent a lot of time, oh, poor pitiful me, and these things happen to me, and I'm such a victim. When now it's funny because now victim gets you playing the victim gets you massive cachet in our society, but I'm not interested in being a victim. I don't want to live. I had to learn how to come to terms with all that stuff. I had to learn to let it go. Number 2, you need to stop indulging in toxic relationships. You don't you don't have time for negative Nellies in your life. You just don't. You know the people I mean. Every time you talk to them, it's just there's never anything good happening. And if they tell you something good, it's always, well, yeah, this happened. Oh, but poor pitiful me. You don't need that crap, okay? Because all those people do, you know what? They suck your energy out of you. They drag you down. You don't need that. You need to cut ties politely. Please be polite about it. You need to cut ties with these people. And if it's someone like a family member where you can't cut ties, you're going to have to learn how to set boundaries. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to get a lot of pushback from people. If you are usually a doormat and all of a sudden you set boundaries, people are going to have a problem with that. You need to understand that. But guess what? Their problem is just that. It's their problem. It's only an issue for you if you choose to make it an issue for you. So stand firm, but you've got to set boundaries. A really good litmus test for other people. And I got to tell you, this is embarrassing to admit, but I had a faux friend who did not pass my litmus test, but for some reason I kept letting her back into my life and back into my life. And finally, I think this is a problem when you're too nice and you're too forgiving, because it doesn't take much for I'm like, oh, my little heart melts and I feel so bad. But if people don't lift you up, why are you spending time with them? Why are you spending time with a so-called friend who makes those little dig comments at you? Why are you spending time with people who don't make you feel like you matter? Don't waste your time on people like that. And don't even come at me with the, well, I don't know anybody bullshit. Because if you don't, you need to find them. You need to start being who you are. You need to be yourself. And you know what? The people who are going to love you, they'll find you. Look, the internet is a very big world. There are people out there who are into the same things that you're into. Don't dull your sparkle just to hang out with other people. Find other people who have the same, like for me, for a long time, I was embarrassed of the fact that I am a middle-aged woman who loves skulls. I mean, I have kind of an obsession with them. And I was kind of, well, I was more than kind, but I was ashamed of that for a while because people always, I get lots of, oh, little goth girl. And yeah, so, ha ha ha. I like black and I like pink. I love sugar skulls and I like flowers. I mean, what are you going to do? You just are who you are. But once I quit fighting that, and I went way off from toxic relationships, but once I quit trying to fit in with people that weren't my people, which, side note, if they're not your people, they're probably kind of toxic for you. Because your people are going to support your weirdness. Your people are going to be like, one of my girlfriends sends me, she knows, I'm the easiest person in the world to buy for. All you got to do is find me a pretty skull, sugar skulls, anything like that, and I'm happy. I have a girlfriend every year. She hits the gifts. All she does is send me sugar skull stuff. And you know what? I love every damn bit of it. But you need to stop. That was a really long ways off topic. You need to stop indulging in toxic relationships. You need to quit making excuses. You know what? Gosh, damn, I can't talk tonight. You want to know what an excuse is? Truly, it's just a lie that we tell ourselves. So quit lying to yourself. You hide behind your excuses. You may not realize it, but you do. You're hiding behind fear. But you're not too old. You're not too late. You're not too heavy. You're not too skinny. If you're not happy with where your life is, don't make the excuse of, well, I'm too this, that, or the other. Fix your problems. Start working on yourself. You don't have to fix everything. But if you're really unhappy maybe you're unhappy with your relationships, maybe you're really unhappy with your career, fix that shit. Don't sit there and make excuses. Well, I can't do that because of this. Then fix it. Or don't complain. Really, it's that simple. And in fairness, it's also that difficult. Number 4, quit trying to fit in. Like I just ranted about a minute ago. You got to do you. You got to be you. You're not going to ever be comfortable around people if you can't relax and be yourself. You're not ever going to shine if you can't relax and be who you truly are. So, if you're a little weird, let your freak flag fly. The people who are into the same kind of thing, your tribe will find you. It's amazing how it happens. When I was first exposed to that idea, I didn't have a real big social media following, and it's not huge by any stretch, but I have a decent size following, and I built it all on my own, and I'm really proud of that. But when it really exploded? When I quit trying to fit in and just started being myself. Although I will admit, there's a lot of jokes that I find that are really tacky that I will not put on social media. So I'm not entirely myself, but what you see is what you get. I am not somebody else other than I cuss more in real life and I tell way tackier jokes. I'm no different in real life than I am on these videos. I'm no different in real life than I am on my Twitter account. That's just who I am. Y'all, I don't have the energy with dealing with all these health issues. I don't have the energy for a fake persona. But don't try to fit in. You've got to be true to yourself. Number 5. Oh, this is a bad habit for me. You gotta quit beating yourself up. It is so pointless. What a complete waste of energy. Mental energy, obviously. It's so pointless. If you are not happy with something in your life, you are the only person responsible for it. Sure, you might be in a situation that's really difficult, but you know what? You still have choices that you can make. You still have areas that you can work on to improve your situation. Don't sit there and beat yourself up about where you are. Don't sit there and beat yourself up. For goodness sakes, don't beat yourself up about the past. I'm getting way off again. But you hear people talk all the time about being present. You want to know a good test if to know if you're present? If you're worried about something, you're in the future. If you're feeling shame or regret, your thoughts are in the past. That's a good litmus test for knowing if you're present. And if you're present, you won't be beating yourself up because you'll know that you're working on yourself, and that's fabulous. Number 6, you need to get rid of lousy sleep habits. Making a face there because I do a lot to get good sleep. I won't say I do everything I should. I do a lot to get a good night of sleep. Sleep has a tremendous impact on everything, and if you don't buy that, keep my sleep schedule for a week and tell me how well you do by Friday. You need to keep your room cool, dark, and quiet. You really should keep your electronics off. I've read everything from 30 to 90 minutes. So we'll split it down the middle and say 60 minutes, but I'll be real honest, I don't do that. Um, I have a Bible app on my phone. I have, excuse me, I have physical Bibles, but I like the app on my phone because it's always with me. And I like to read my Bible sometimes at night, or I will get on, Audible. That's the name of it. I'll get on Audible and put on a book to help me fall asleep, or I'll go on YouTube and find a guided meditation. But I actually talked to a counselor about that. And I was like, that's really bad. And he said, well, it's not ideal, but he said, you're not going on with the intent of like scrolling through Twitter or something, which I'll admit I get into these moods where I'm really overtired. I call it whoop toddler syndrome, and I'm super overtired, and I know I need to put down my phone and just relax, and no, I won't do it. I'm going to be defiant, and I know it's not doing anything but harming myself, but I'll just sit there and scroll Twitter thinking to myself, I shouldn't be doing this, I shouldn't be doing this, or I'll go play a game, or I'll go on Imgur. But if you're doing something on your phone to help you wind down and you're not going to be there long, that's okay. I've been given clearance for that. But you know when you're avoiding it, and for me, a lot of times it's because I don't want to deal with my thoughts, because I tend to beat myself up, and that leads to lousy sleep habits. Another good thing that you should do, and this isn't from their list, this is from my experience, keep a journal by your bed. Keep a little notebook and a pen or pencil, whatever you prefer, by your bed. And at the end of the day, if you're laying there and your thoughts are racing, get up for a couple minutes. Jot all that stuff down. Get it off your chest. Just get it out. And then for me, what really seals the deal, because now I've just gotten all this stuff off my chest, which, I can breathe easier, but it's now fresh in my mind. So I always finish a journal entry like that with 3 things that I'm grateful for, because that flips a switch. And now I'm focused on the good things, and it's so much easier to lay down and go to sleep from there. Number 7, you need to stop letting fear run your life. I mean, think about it. Most of the crap that we build up that we're afraid of, how much of it ever comes to pass? How many times have you built up these elaborate things in your mind of the gloom and doom that's going to happen if everything doesn't go perfectly? Well, nothing ever goes perfectly, but how many times has the world come to an end because you did something wrong, or you forgot something, or whatever? You got to live your life. I spend a lot of time, I'm still not, I'll be honest, I'm not happy with my weight. And yes, I accept responsibility for that. I know exactly what my issues are, and that's a topic for another night. But when I was heavier, I was living in Southern California, and not a fun place to be heavy. And all my friends would be like, well, let's go here and let's go there. And I never wanted to go because I was so uncomfortable with how I looked, with a problem that only I could solve. How flippin' stupid is that? Don't do that to yourself. It's so dumb. But you know what? Looking back now, I was letting that fear. I didn't want anybody to judge me. I didn't want to be the fat friend. And I was letting that run my life. And you know what? My friends all have memories of going out and doing stuff. I have memories of sitting home feeling sorry for myself. And you know what? I'd sit there and I'd eat. Hey, we all got issues. I freely admit emotional eating is a huge one for me. But speaking of issues, if you're letting fear run your life to the point that you have like serious issues where you've got I almost said arachnophobia, but that's spiders. When you've got agoraphobia or something where you don't want to go out of the house and you're afraid to deal with other people, please, for the love of God, go get some help. We're social beings. We're not supposed to live isolated like that. So get help. If you're really severely depressed and you can't shake it, go get some damn help. There's nothing to be ashamed. We have such a weird thing about that in our society. But one of my gurus explains it, I think, really well. She says, you get your car tuned up, don't you? So why wouldn't you do that to your mind? Well, that's a good way to look at it. Number 8, you need to stop keeping old, unusable stuff. If you don't use it, get rid of it. If it's sentimental, really, it's just an object. I had a little, this is going to make me sound really horrible probably, but I had this little glass bird, little red glass bird, little cardinal that my maternal grandmother had given me years ago. Now, my grandma used to make me all kinds of cool stuff. And this little bird, it was really out of character for her to give me something like that. It wasn't really my decor. But I moved that little bird I don't know how many times. But when I'd look at it, I wouldn't feel happy. And I wouldn't get like positive thoughts about my grandmother. I would look at it and all I would do is feel, oh my gosh, my grandma gave me that and I don't really like it. Well, how silly is that? I mean, really. And one day I'm going through this thought process and all of a sudden out of nowhere, I can hear my grandmother's voice in my head asking you, why on earth would you keep it if it doesn't make you happy? Our home is supposed to be our castle. If you have something in your home that doesn't make you happy, why on earth are you keeping it? If it really has a tremendous sentimental value to you, but it doesn't make you happy, take a picture of it. You can print the photo and frame it if you want to and hang it up. Although, side note, anything you hang on your wall, it's just like buying a knickknack. You got to take care of it. You're going to have to dust it, so keep that in mind. But you shouldn't keep things. You shouldn't keep things if they don't bring you joy. And I'm not going to look around this room because it is full of clutter. But don't keep old unusable stuff. I just went through a ton of pictures. I gotta tell you, it was hard to get rid of them. But they were pictures from a trip I took when I was 16. That was close to 40 years ago. I never wrote on the back of those pictures. I have no idea where 99% of those pictures were even taken. So I threw them all out. Did I have a little regret? Yeah, but you know how many times I've looked at those pictures? Not very many, because what was the point? I didn't even know what most of them were of. I mean, yay, it's a building. I like the architecture. Don't ask me anything about it because I don't know. I mean, it was really to that point. So don't keep old unusable stuff. And finally, number 9, you need to stop comparing yourself to other people. For one thing, it's really inaccurate. You have no idea what's going on in somebody's life. You might think you know somebody, but think about how many aspects to you no one else knows about. So don't compare yourself to other people. If you want what somebody else has, guess what? Success leaves a trail. And with the internet age, you can find, especially if it's somebody like a big name in whatever industry, if they're a big name in their industry, you're going to find articles and interviews online about them. And you can listen to all that and read all that. And you can get a pretty good idea of how they got from point A to point B. And you can do the same thing. But most of the time, when we're standing outside someone else's life, for one thing, we're usually comparing like our chapter 10 to their chapter 50, which obviously they're going to be a lot further down the road. But you don't know what kind of insecurities they're dealing with. You probably don't know, like if it's somebody famous, you have no idea what their home life is like, what their family life is like. I liked Anthony Bourdain. I thought he was a little rude, a little crass, but he owned it. And I really liked his show, No Reservations. And I'll be honest, there was one episode where that was it, that sealed the deal. I was a big fan because, hey, Auntie, how you doing, beautiful? Because he, oh, thank you, honey. Thank you. That's so sweet of you. But Anthony Bourdain was, I can't remember the name of the tribe, but he was eating with he was taking a meal with a tribe in Africa. And it was flat out. They cooked on the open ground. And I mean, the sand was so hot, they cracked an egg and they waited till the egg was cooked. Well, of course, the egg is full of sticks and sand. And he was so polite. And he ate a couple of different meals with them. And he was so beautifully kind and respectful, and it really changed the way I viewed him. But my long point was, I really liked Anthony Bourdain, and from the surface, the guy had everything. He had a successful show. I believe he was a best-selling author. He was very well known in his field, and he committed suicide. Kate Spade, designer, wildly successful. I own several of her handbags, and I love every one of them dearly. She was married. She committed suicide. You just don't know. That's my point. You have no idea what's going on in somebody's life. So don't compare yourself. And if you really have to, if you just can't stop that urge, compare yourself to someone who's a lot less fortunate than you are. Because that's going to remind you to be grateful for the things that you have. And a little note on gratitude: just because you're grateful for where you are and what you have, that doesn't mean that you don't want to improve. That doesn't mean that you don't aspire for more. It just means you appreciate and you recognize that where you're at really isn't such a bad place. Because chances are you got a roof over your head, you've got running water, you got electricity. Those three things put you ahead of millions of people on this planet, and you shouldn't take them for granted, but we do. Anyway, quick recap, then I'm jumping off. 9 toxic habits to dump. Number 1, don't dwell on the past. Number 2, stop indulging in toxic relationships, for goodness sakes. If they don't lift you up, you need to get them out of your life, but don't be a jackass. Number 3, stop making excuses. Number 4, don't try to fit in. Do you. You be yourself, and you'll be amazed that the people who have similar interests, the people who are going to lift you up, the people who are going to help you shine, they will find you. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you it works, because I've seen it myself. Don't beat yourself up. Absolutely pointless. You can't change anything about your past, so beating yourself up about it is just ridiculous. If you're beating yourself up about your current situation, then guess what? You have a golden opportunity to look at yourself and figure out where you need the most help. You can get online and you can get started with damn near anything these days for free. You need to fix your lousy sleep habits. Oh, I'm bad about that. Number 7, don't let fear run your life. Life can be very scary. I know that, unfortunately, better than a lot of people. But you know what else? Life is absolutely beautiful, and it's magical, and it's amazing. So don't sit here and let fear run your life. Get out there and live, damn it. Number 8, quit keeping old, unusable stuff. At the end of the day, it's just stuff. It's just stuff. And you can't take it with you. And finally, stop comparing yourself to other people, because you just don't know what they're going through. Anyway, that's all I have for tonight. I hope y'all have a great weekend. Oh, thank goodness it's Friday. I don't know about y'all, but it has been a long damn week here. I've been trying to figure out what I can do, because my good tripod, and I didn't have a tripod now, but my good light and everything is set up for landscape, not portrait. And this not very good lighting is all I've got for portrait. So I got to try to figure something else out. But at any rate, if you want to catch up with me on social media, Twitter is the only place I spend any time, at Alaskan Courtney. I try to be very responsive. If you have any questions about this, or certainly if you have any questions about dealing with chronic illness, whether you're the one who has the illness or a loved one, drop me a line. I know I can help you find some good, free resources to help you with all that. And y'all have a fantastic weekend. Oh, if you have not done so, please subscribe to my Haps channel, although I think most of my audience is on Twitter. But I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will be back Monday.